Every good thing in this world started with a dream, so you hold on to yours.
Wonka is without a doubt an awaited film with Timothée Chalamet as a main lead and plenty of great talented actors such as Rowan Atkinson, Olivia Colman, Hugh Grant, and many others whose performance unquestionably is incredible. It's a musical, that is why a great part of the story is told by songs, which bring an extra charm to the movie and makes it perfect for kids and also for a family watching. It's an amazing magical story of a young aspiring magician, inventor and chocolatier Willy Wonka. British and American accents in the movie will help you train your listening skills and be able to understand the native English speaking in its original pace. The vocabulary is mostly level B2 and C1. We will go through useful words and expressions for you to be confident to use them in your everyday English practice. That's why there is a vocabulary exercise in the end of the video. It is released in the end of 2023. So what do we know about it so far? The New York Times says Timothy plays a wide-eyed innocent instead of eccentric Mad Hatter. I believe it's a comparison to both previous films of 1971 and 2005. The Guardian says a new Wonka's portrayal by Timothy brings a puckish innocence and sprite, light-footed energy to one of the most famously jaded misanthropes in children's literature. And the Rolling Stone says that this movie somehow makes you feel as if you are experiencing both the high and the low at the same time. Please write in the comments what your opinion is about Wonka, if you agree or disagree with these statements. So let's see what the story is really about. Learn English vocabulary and have fun together. Willy Wonka arrives in Europe to establish his chocolate shop.
I've poured everything I've got into my chocolate. Now it's time to show the world my recipe.
The city we've created for the movie is a sort of wonderful fairy tale city somewhere in the middle of Europe.
It's almost all of Europe in one city.
It's like the best of. It takes influences from English, French, German, and Swiss architecture. But we wanted it to feel as though you couldn't quite place it within one particular country.
He has spent all his money within a day and now has no penny in his pocket to rent a place to stay. He meets kind people who are willing to help and give him a shelter.
So what is it I can do for your room, is it?
Well, yes.
Mr. Wonka is temporarily embarrassed.
Be embarrassed, level B1, feeling ashamed or shy, uncomfortable or nervous. You can also say, terribly embarrassed, highly embarrassed, somewhat embarrassed, obviously embarrassed.
All that's about to change. And first thing tomorrow at the Gallery Gourmet, I plan to unveil my most astonishing creation yet.
Obviously, he's talking about his unique chocolate. He calls it an astonishing creation, which means so surprising that it is difficult to believe. It's a synonym to the word amazing, and he plans to unveil it the next day. He means he will introduce it for the first time. Basically, unveil is to make the unknown known, to tell a secret or to tell about something the others do not know.
Read the small print.
A little girl, Noodle, is trying to warn Wonka about something, but she fails.
You ever interfere in my business again and you'll be in this coop all week, do you understand?
Yes, Mrs. Scrubbit.
If you ever interfere in my business, she means ever get involved in my business, ever betray my business, ever damage my business. Interfere is level C1. That means to involve yourself in something where you are not wanted or not helpful. You can say interfere in something, that is the phrase with the same meaning, or you can say interfere with something, which means to prevent something from happening or working effectively. For example, the noise interferes with my concentration, meaning the noise does not allow me to concentrate properly. You see that a little harmless preposition can change the total meaning of the phrase. That's why it's important to learn not just the word itself, but the full phrase that includes the correct preposition. Wonka doesn't suspect anything wrong and goes the next day to show his creation to people, to unveil his creation.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Gallery Gourmet, my name is Willy Wonka, and I have come to show you a marvelous morsel.
I have come to show you a marvelous morsel. Marvelous is level B1 and simply means extremely good. You can also say wonderful in this meaning. And a morsel is a small amount of food, a bite, like a morsel of cheese, of meat, a morsel of chocolate, for example. Nowadays, we usually say a piece or a slice in this meaning. The word morsel can be used not only with food. You can say a morsel of news, a morsel of information, whenever you refer to a small amount of something.
An incredible edible, an unbeatable eatable, the likes of which this world has never seen.
Wonka is thrilled and very passionate about his chocolate. That's why he's been called aspiring. He says, I will show you an incredible edible and unbeatable eatable. The words edible and eatable both refer to something that we can eat, yeah? But what is the difference? If you say this is edible, you mean this is safe to eat. For example, would the expired product be edible? I don't think so, meaning the expired product is not safe to eat. However, the word eatable means something that you would like to eat because you like the way it looks, you like the smell, but if you don't, you can say, I don't think it's eatable, I don't like it. So you mean it's not eatable for you, but it can be for someone else. The local authorities didn't like Wonka selling his chocolate in the streets and took all his earnings. Wonka later discovers that Mrs. Scrabbit and Bleacher are not really kind people.
Use the stairs to get to his room and all.
Oh, then you've got your stair charge, and that is per step, I'm afraid, up and down.
Now Wonka finds out he owns a huge amount of money and has to work it off.
First you pick up the apparel and you stick it in a barrel, scrub, scrub.
Willie meets the other workers, who also have been tricked the same way.
Each of us found ourselves in need of a cheap place to stay and neglected to read the small print.
They neglected to read the small print, same as Wonka did. So guys, whenever you are about to sign anything, read everything very carefully. We understand that all of them didn't read the small print, but what he means by the word neglect? It's level C2, advanced level. It means not to give enough care or attention when needed. Neglect is used in the phrase neglect to do something and means not to do something because you forget to do that. For example, he neglected to inform me of his change of the address.
How much do you owe them?
10,000.
Count yourself lucky. I owe 30.
Wonka meets Noodle, who was trying to help him at the beginning and was punished for that.
How do you owe them money? I thought they found you down a laundry chute.
Oh, they did. Took me in out of the goodness of their hearts and charged me for the privilege.
Noodle is actually being sarcastic saying that because the word privilege means to have an advantage of something because of your position or because you are rich. So they took an advantage of her, not her as an advantage. For example, health care should be a right, not a privilege, meaning everyone should have health care, not only those who can afford it. And also it means to have an opportunity to do something good, something enjoyable. It's level C1, guys. If you say it's a privilege to meet you, you mean you are happy about this opportunity and you really like to meet that person.
You ever had chocolate?
No.
What? You've never had chocolate?
Still no.
Helps you see that faint ray of hope beyond the shadow of despair.
There are two popular expressions in this sentence. First one, a ray of hope. Ray is a beam of light, usually sunlight. So metaphorically speaking, a ray associates with something positive, something that can change bad for good, like hope. And despair means the opposite, a situation in which you do not see anything positive. You lose your hope and feel there is nothing you can do about it. And this feeling associates with darkness. That's why it is used with the word shadow. Meantime, we see the local authority that is corrupted.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I have had 150 of these since my last confession.
Temptation is very hard to resist.
Even a corrupted priest takes a piece of chocolate as a bribe. He says temptation is hard to resist. Resist is also a word of level C1, which means to fight against something morally, not physically. It's used in the phrases cannot resist doing something, or unable to resist doing something, hard or difficult to resist, impossible to resist. After resist should always be the verb with the ending ing, a gerund. Please do not make a mistake saying, I cannot resist to buy a new dress. It's incorrect. I cannot resist buying a new dress. This is the correct way. So for you not to be confused, just remember that the word resist requires gerund only if the verb is after the word resist. I resist sleeping. He resists going. She resists asking. If you say resist something, the structure of the sentence changes. I resist an invitation to go. She resists the temptation to love. They resist the pressure to resign.
I brought my invoice. One chocolatier moved on for the usual fee.
Fee, level B1, an amount of money paid for a particular piece of work, or for a particular right or service. Legal fees, lawyers' fees, university fees, registration fee.
For a small payment, a fee, the policeman made Wonka move on. Move on is a phrase also of level C1 and means either to leave the place and go somewhere else or start doing something different, a new activity. For example, I've lived in the city long enough. It's time to move on.
We want you to send Wonka a message that if he attempts to sell chocolate in this town again, he is liable to meet with a little accident.
If Wonka attempts, he means try, yes, to sell chocolate in this town again, he's liable to meet with a little accident. That's a serious threat. Be liable to do something or be liable for something, also level C1. These phrases mean to have legal responsibilities for something. You can be liable for costs, for example, meaning you have a legal responsibility to pay for something. But Wonka doesn't have any legal responsibilities. The word liable also means likely to happen. Most probably will happen. For example, if you don't take care of yourself, you are liable to get sick, meaning you are likely to get sick. You'll most probably get sick.
Accident.
In which he dies. Don't have to keep saying it. I'm just making sure we're all on the same page.
Be on the same page, idiom, to have the same ideas as someone else.
She's madly in love with you.
Mrs. Scrubbert.
Besotted. And why not?
So Wonka is trying to make Bleacher believe that Mrs. Scrubbert is in love with him. So those two can get distracted and Wonka can sneak out to sell chocolate and pay the debt. Wonka says that Mrs. Scrubbert is besotted with him. It's another expression to say that someone is in love. But this particular expression has a deeper meaning, like to be madly in love, not to imagine yourself without someone, constantly think about someone and not behave sensibly. This expression is mostly used in literature, in poems and novels.
Look at you. Fine figure of a man. You just need to tidy yourself up a little bit. Have a bath.
A bath?
I believe you can say that a bath is the American way, American pronunciation, and a bath is the British one. Same like a path, a path, potato, potato, tomato, tomato.
Where are the chocolates?
They've been stolen.
Stolen?
Mm-hmm.
Who by?
Little orange man. He's my nemesis. About yay high.
Nemesis, an opponent or enemy that is likely to be impossible for you to defeat, or a situation that is likely to be impossible for you to deal with.
As all the chocolate has been stolen by a little orange man, Wonka's nemesis, yeah? Wonka has to make some more chocolate to sell, and they go to the zoo because Wonka needs a giraffe's milk for it.
This. It's all I have from my real parents.
Can't you trace the owner?
You don't think I've tried?
Noodle is telling Wonka about her dream to find her real mother and find out who she really is. Can't you trace the owner? Wonka asks. He means if she could find someone that was lost. Trace is level C1 as well. If you say that you are trying to trace someone, you mean you are looking for someone very carefully.
Do not sell chocolate in this town! You got it?
Not really, I'm afraid. Oh, so you got a mouth on you, huh, Candyman?
The policeman is doing what he's been bribed to do, yeah? Threaten Wonka. You've got a mouth on you. It is an idiom that describes someone who talks back in a rude way, sort of swears a lot. The policeman means don't talk back and just listen to me.
You had a little run-in with the chief of police.
How do you know that?
Because I was Slugworth's accountant.
One of the workers in the laundry found out that he's been doing a lot of things illegally.
Slugworth, Ficklegruber, and Prodnose have been in cahoots for years. A sort of chocolate cartel.
To be in cahoots with someone is the phrase that means to act together secretly for illegal purposes, to do something dishonest.
So we're still partners?
Sure, but I don't know how we're gonna sell any chocolate. Every time the police show up, you'd have to vanish into thin air.
Vanish into thin air, idiom, to disappear suddenly and completely, but appear out of thin air means the opposite, to appear suddenly and mysteriously.
There are trapdoors all over the city. They're called storm drains. I'd be happy to show you around if you cut me in on the action.
I'll show you around if you cut me in on the action. Cut someone in is a phrase that means to include someone in business, plan, activity, process. If you mention what exactly you cut someone in, you should use the preposition on. Cut someone in on something. Cut me in on your plans, meaning I want to participate in your planned actions.
If you're recruiting, I'd do anything to get out of here and make up with my wife.
Recruit, level C1, to find new people to work in a company, join an organization, do a job, etc.
Far be it from me to pour cold water on all your fun, but if Mrs. Scrubbit catches you trying to escape, you'll all get 6 months in the coop.
The accountant, who actually understands the real danger, yeah, is trying to warn them all. He uses two expressions here, which are quite interesting. The first one, far be it from me to do something. This expression is used when you don't agree with a person, but you don't want to criticize and look rude. It simply means I would not do something the way you do it, and you should do it differently. You are kind of apologizing in advance for pointing on a mistake or the wrong way the person is doing something. It is quite an advanced expression and used in formal English mostly, but using this idiom would definitely show that you respect the other person and want to be polite. For example, far be it from me to tell you how to do the report, but do you really think it's good enough? It means it's not really for me to say it. I don't want to offend you, but your report is far from being good. Another idiom here is pour cold water on something, like an idea, a plan, a proposal. It means to criticize that plan or idea so badly that the other person no longer feels excited about it and is liable, most probably yes, to drop it.
So just think about that before getting involved in this harebrained scheme.
He calls their plan a harebrained scheme. Harebrained means silly, not practical, and unlikely to succeed. It's usually used in the expression harebrained scheme, which refers to any plans or ideas. And obviously, after trying that marvelous, exquisite chocolate, he agrees to help.
When do we start?
There's chocolate, and there's chocolate.
Willy finally catches his nemesis, a little orange man from Oompa Loompa.
So I will thank you to stop gawping at me as though I was something unpleasant you'd found in your handkerchief.
I will thank you to stop gawping at me. Gape is a British equivalent to American gawk and the word gape. These three words have the same meaning. To stare at someone with the mouth open in wonder or astonishment because you are shocked or surprised, something like this. It's a synonym to the word look, and all its synonyms are followed by a preposition at, same as the word look. Look at, glance at, peek at, peer at, glare at, stare at, gaze at, gape, gawk, gope at. Plenty of synonyms, isn't it? And all of them have a little extra meaning to the word look.
I find it uncomfortable and frankly rude.
Sorry.
Little Orange Man finds Willy gawping rude. He says, frankly, I find it rude. Frankly means honestly and directly. It emphasizes that you really mean what you are saying. You can also say quite frankly in this meaning, and the most popular expressions with this word are frankly speaking and frankly admitted. Wonka's friends found a broken and abandoned place that can serve as a shop.
If I was a kid and I was watching this movie, that's how I'd imagine what Willy's shop would look like.
But something went wrong.
Terrible shame what happened here. We may have encouraged Mrs. Scrubbit to enhance your creations.
We paid her to poison them.
We encouraged Mrs. Scrubbit to enhance your creations. Enhance is the word of level C1, so he's speaking sarcastically because enhance means to improve the quality, improve the amount or strength of something.
Your friend, Mr. Wonka, done a deal with Mr. Slugworth.
What?
Gave up on his dream to settle your accounts.
So the chocolate cartel offered Willy to leave the town in exchange for the freedom of his friends. Settle the accounts can be used as an idiom or as a phrase and has different meanings. As an idiom, it means to harm someone because he has harmed you before, in the past, like a revenge. For example, this killing is the result of two gangs settling the accounts between them. But Mrs. Scrubbit is talking about the money the workers own her, yeah? So here settle your accounts is used as a phrase and means to give back all the money you own, like to the bank, to business, to the shop or to somebody.
My friend, Mr. Slugworth, doesn't think nasty little urchins like you should be out on the streets lowering the tone.
But Chocolate Cartel lied to Wonka about Noodle. They didn't pay the money for her freedom. She can lower the tone. It's an expression that means to make something less respectable, not appropriate or worse. You can say lower the tone of the conversation, lower the tone of the neighborhood, lower the tone of the restaurant. Wonka finds out about the lies and comes back.
The greedy beat the needy, Willy. It's just the way of the world.
I guess that's why there's one other thing to do.
And what's that?
Change the world.
How will they defeat the corrupted police and cruel chocolatiers? Will Noodle find her family? Where will Wonka establish his chocolate factory? Will the little orange man help them? You will find out after watching the movie, and for you to be able to watch it in English easy and understand everything, we are going to review some vocabulary we've learned today. You will be given 10 definitions of the words and expressions, and your task is to match the correct vocabulary with that definition. If you need more time, just pause the video. Ready? Let's go!
Oompa, loompa, doompa-dee-doo. I've got a little bonus for you.
To criticize someone's plan, idea, or desire to do something so much that they no longer feel excited about it.
Pour cold water on something.
To show or tell people about a new product or plan for the first time.
Unveil.
To try to get involved in a situation where you are not wanted or needed.
Interfere in something.
Not want to criticize someone or say what they should do.
Far be it for me to do something.
To have the same ideas as someone else.
Be on the same page.
To allow someone to take part in a plan.
Cut somebody in on something.
Suitable or safe for eating.
Edible.
To love or want someone or something so much that you cannot think or behave sensibly.
Be besotted with someone.
To stop yourself from doing something that you want to do.
Resist doing something.
An opponent or enemy that is likely to be impossible for you to defeat.
Nemesis.
I'm sure you did great and will be practicing the new vocabulary in your speaking and writing. Hit me the like for the video and we are going to see each other next Thursday.